Hello, Drag Racers.
I'm Ross.
And I'm Maddox.
And for all of Season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race, we will be bringing you our weekly updates on our favorite 3 moments from every episode, our favorite shade moment of the week,
our favorite queen of the week, our favorite costume on the runway, and our predictions for next week.
So stay tuned.
What do you want? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea. What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea.
My first favorite moment is that I predicted who was coming back. Kenya Michaels. Yes, so last week I predicted that Kenya was coming back. And who walked through the door? Kenya.
Kenya Michaels.
She still can't speak English, but she's back.
She had 2 weeks to learn.
And not only is she back, she won the mini challenge. So, bloop, you go, girl.
You go, girl.
So what's your favorite?
My first favorite moment was during the mini challenge when Chad Michaels presented his bear, and right when he plops it down on the stool, I said, "That looks like Jiggly" in the first episode. And then they split the screen and they show the bear and Jiggly, and Rue was like, "May I call you Jiggly?" And I was like, "Yes."
No.
Called it. No, she's gone. But it looked exactly like her, whether it was intentional or not.
It did.
It was pretty shady.
It was pretty funny.
Pretty awesome.
My second favorite moment was Sharon Needles' guy. He was hilarious. First of all, he was in drag the whole time. From the moment he came in the dressing room, he started putting on her titty plate, he put on a wig, he put on a corset, he was walking around in heels. This man, this was not his first time cross-dressing.
He's committed.
He was loving it too much. And then he started a fight with Chad Michaels. He's like, "Bitch, you need to clear our runway." And it was just, he was a mess. And Sharon was like, "He is not a DILF. He is a dilk. A dad I would like to kill." He was just a lot to handle. Okay, so what was your second favorite moment of the week?
My second favorite moment was when Kenya was helping her man tuck, and it just kind of shows them behind that folding, changing board, and you just hear all sorts of noises and words being thrown around, and they just cut back and forth to Latrice cackling. It would just be like, "Okay, just grab these and put it up under the thing," and then it would cut to Latrice. And then it would cut back and be like, "Okay, but I think my balls are too big." And then it would cut back to Latrice and be like, "I'm sorry.
I can't,
I'm sorry." It was hilarious. And another example of how good they are at editing on that show.
My third favorite moment of the week was Fifi and her DILF on the runway. They were so sweet. I mean, Fifi was talking about like how her dad doesn't accept her and how she hasn't talked to him since she was 18. And her DILF was just like so supportive and was like, "If my kids were gay, I would support them. And if my son wants to do drag, I would do drag with him." It was just so cute. And Fifi was like crying. And her dad was just like the best dad. I loved him.
It was cute. My third moment actually jumps to the end. Latrice and, we'll talk about this obviously, but Latrice and Kenya are in the bottom 2 and they're lip syncing. And right away, Kenya's doing her, like, she's like freaking out, running all over the stage. And Latrice just planted her feet. She did not take a step the entire song, and she killed it. It was like one of the best lip syncs I've ever seen. And that just goes to show how good Latrice is. And so that had to be my third moment.
That was a good moment.
It was pretty amazing.
So, my shade of the week comes from the queen that comes back, Kenya Michaels. So when she finds out she's in the bottom, she says, "Oh no, I don't want to do Carmen. I don't want to go home."
It was beautiful.
Oh my god, it was hilarious because, as we all know, last season, Carmen came back and she sashayed away for the second time in a row.
My shade of the week came literally at the last second of the episode. They're doing their whole, like, let the music play, and everyone's dancing, and this is not making. And all of a sudden, the camera just does a quick, like, snap pan to Chad vomiting off the side of the stage, pretending to be Willow, being like, hold on 1 second. And that was shady and genius, and honestly, it could have been my favorite moment, but I decided it was shady enough to qualify it. So that was beautiful. Thank you, Chad, for that wonderful moment.
My queen of the week happens to be none other than Sharon Needles.
Ooh, welcome to the team! We're winning.
I did love Sharon Needles this week. She handled her DILF so perfectly because he was a lot to handle. And when he was coming for Chad Michaels, she was like, do not come for my sister. He could not learn the choreography, and it was so easy, but she kept her composure, and I loved her for it. Hats off to you, and you are my queen of the week. I think maybe for the only second time this whole season, unlike some people.
Well, I'd hate to disappoint. My queen of the week, Miss Sharon Needles, for the maybe 6th time. I also said dealing with her DILF. She stood up for Miss Chad Michaels. The moment during Untucked where everyone's like, oh, that's so cute, they gave us ice cream and pickles, but I don't want to eat that. And she dives in, picks up a pickle, and just bites it. She's like, oh, that's really good. She's fearless. And when she was standing on stage next to her DILF, and she's like, nothing makes a woman feel prettier than standing next to this one right here.
On the runway, who was your favorite?
I have to say, my favorite costume as a pair was Miss Sharon Needles and Robin Mansions. I feel like they came together, which, by the way, that name is genius. Forgot to talk on that.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
And I think their costumes came together, and they obviously matched very well. I liked their whole, that she was very Sharon Needles. Yes. And obviously, he was not a
He looked like a dog.
He's not a pretty drag queen, but, you know, we can't all be pretty.
Well,
I won't mention her
speak
name.
for yourself. I agreed with that, but to not have a repeat of the same thing, I picked Fifi and her DILF because they had the most family resemblance. Her DILF was very easily transformed into a drag queen, so it was a little more easy for her. He did look a lot like Fifi, so that's why I picked them. I felt like they looked the most alike in the face.
Yeah.
And like the hair and the styling.
Then we get to the bottom two.
Well, Fifi, let's talk about Fifi won the whole thing.
Oh, yes.
And our special guests this week were Jessie Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family and Jennifer Love, huge tits. I mean, Hewitt. Our bottom two were
Kenya, which we all said last week.
I said that. I said they're going to bring someone back and they're going to be the bottom.
And Latrice.
Which is really stressing me out because anytime someone's in the bottom 2 times in a row, next week,
I'm very worried.
they lip sang to Aretha Franklin, which, come on, Latrice, Aretha Franklin, Natural Woman, and need we say who won? Like,
obviously.
Latrice and Kenya. Kenya probably doesn't even know who Aretha Franklin is.
She has no idea, and she didn't know half the words. Every time they cut to her, she was just doing the BB.
And she was dancing too much. It's not a
It
dance
was like,
song.
Even if it were a dance song, it was too much. She was like having a spasm. It was insane. So anyways, yeah, Latrice sent Kenya back to Puerto Rico.
Scandalous.
Oh, and there she will stay until the reunion. I think this episode we were talking about was one of the most
best
entertaining of the season.
For a while.
Yeah.
Your predictions for next week?
Next week, they show that they're doing a little mascot dog costume thing. I don't really know what's going on.
And Sharon and Fifi argue on the runway, as always.
Obviously. They showed quick clips. I think we saw what everyone looked like just for 1 second, and all I can say is they showed Sharon looking amazing, so I'm very excited to see that whole look. My predictions for next week, I feel like it is going to be Fifi, and I was gonna say that I thought it might be Latrice again because I'm worried about the 2 times in a row, like you said. But I kind of feel like Chad has been kind of coasting. Like, she's amazing and I love her. I feel like something might happen, maybe that puts Chad in the bottom 2 for the first time the whole season. I feel like it might be Chad versus Fifi, and I don't even know what would happen at that. I'm hoping for Chad, but we'll see.
Well, my predictions are Latrice. And I love Latrice, she's my favorite. But every other queen who was in for it twice, they put them in a third time, and they threw them for a loop, and they got sent home. The last 2 times Latrice was in the bottom 2, they gave her songs that fit her perfectly. She got Gladys Knight and Aretha Franklin. And I think this time it's going to be her versus Chad. And like Ross said, they keep pointing out, this is the 3rd week in a row that they said, Chad, you're doing it too safe. You're not surprising us. Everything is too perfect. You need a little grit. You need more personality. Just to shake Chad up, put her in the bottom 2 and go, hey girl, you're not safe all the time. And it's going to be Chad and Latrice. It's sad to say.
I don't want to see either of them.
In Chad's favor, like some cabaret dancing number thing, and Latrice is not going to do well. And Chad is going to send Latrice home. And it's going to be real sad.
So anyways, we'll watch next week and we will see what happens. Also next week is the new Now Next Awards.
Yes.
Hosted by
Kelly
Osbourne, who thankfully gets more screen time.
Yes.
So
we haven't checked up on the All-Stars yet. What's
going
going on
it's
with that?
taken down, I think.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I last looked, Sharon was in first place. I love her, but I don't think it should be someone who's in the top 4 of this season.
I need Raven Jujubee to be there.
That's what I'm
That's
feeling.
all I care about.
A lot of the people that were like up for the running to be the audience vote, I feel like most of them are going to be
On there
there anyways because they're the fan favorites.
Exactly.
So until next week, stay tuned and find out
What's the tea?
What do you want? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea.
I love you, I'm sorry. Said, it's gonna be Kenya.
Kenya.
High school.